All right, today we're diving into something absolutely massive, Qiddiya City in Saudi Arabia. Now, you might have heard about it, this future global capital for entertainment and sports, but we're going to look at how it's actually engineered to be so much more than that. It's a huge piece of a national vision, and its strategy is just a fascinating look at how you build the future from the ground up.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How does a city that is literally built for fun and play end up helping to transform an entire nation? It sounds kind of strange, but the answer is buried in a very deliberate, very measurable strategy. Let's get into it.
First off, you've got to understand the scale here. Qiddiya is what they call a giga-project, and they're not kidding. It's this enormous venture designed to basically jumpstart entirely new economic sectors. We're talking about a massive hub for entertainment, sports, and culture just outside Riyadh. But its real purpose, its true goal, goes way deeper than just building cool theme parks and stadiums.
And this is really the key to the whole thing. Qiddiya isn't just some standalone island of entertainment. No way. It's a physical, tangible expression of a much bigger ambition. Saudi Vision 2030. Every single decision they make, from the big city planning stuff down to who they hire, is guided by this national North Star.
So, what is Saudi Vision 2030 really? Well, think of it as a strategic game plan for a monumental national shift. The big goal is to reduce the country's dependence on oil and build a totally diversified, sustainable economy for the future. It's literally the blueprint for a thriving post-oil nation. To pull off that kind of economic diversification, you need to create whole new industries and, more importantly, a ton of new jobs. And this number, well, it makes that goal incredibly real. Qiddiya is on track to create over 325,000 jobs by 2030. See? This isn't just about building a city, it's about building the engine for a brand new national economy.
Okay, so you have this huge vision. How do you actually make it happen on the ground? For Qiddiya, the answer is its ESG strategy. That's environment, social, and governance. It's all laid out in their first ever report, which they actually called their playbook. It's a clear, actionable plan for building a truly sustainable city.
And this playbook is super straightforward. It's built around three simple core themes: play right, play together, and play well. Each one lines up perfectly with those ESG pillars. So let's break down what each of these really means in practice.
So let's start with number one, player right. This is the E in ESG, and it's all about the environment. The whole idea is to limit the city's environmental footprint, and not with vague promises, but with very specific commitments to using resources efficiently and being good stewards of the land.
And these are not just some fluffy goals. We're talking about hard, measurable targets. 100% of wastewater will be treated and reused. In an arid climate, that is absolutely critical. 90% of organic waste is going to be turned into compost. 80% of parking spaces will be ready for electric vehicles. And the big one, the city is committed to net zero carbon emissions by 2060, which lines up perfectly with the national goals.
All right, next up is the S in ESG, the social pillar, which Qiddiya calls play together. This one is all about people. It's about building an inclusive society by focusing on everything from developing the workforce to making sure that every single person, no matter their background or ability, can actually access and enjoy the city.
And check this out. Here's a key social goal in action. The target is for women to make up 40% of the entire workforce by 2030. And get this, an ambitious 30% in leadership roles. This isn't just a company policy. It directly supports Vision 2030's national priority of female empowerment.
And then there's this number, 100%. That's the percentage of public spaces being designed for full accessibility for people with disabilities. That's such a powerful commitment to inclusivity. It's a clear statement that play together really truly means everyone is included.
Finally, we've got the third pillar, play well. This is the G for governance. Without really solid governance to make sure everything's transparent and accountable, even the best environmental and social plans are just nice ideas. This pillar is what makes the entire strategy credible. It's what holds it all together.
So how do they make sure that governance is robust? Well, it's not random. Their process is super methodical. They started by identifying the key ESG topics that really matter. Then they created specific initiatives to tackle them. They benchmarked their plans against their peers in the industry and committed to transparent reporting using global standards. This whole process is designed to build trust with investors, partners, and the public.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together now. The real power in Qiddiya's approach, what makes it so interesting, is that tight, direct line between the high-level national vision and the super detailed, on-the-ground execution.
And this slide is the perfect example of how that works. You've got a top-level goal from Vision 2030, create a vibrant society. Okay, great, but what does that mean? Well, for Qiddiya, one specific policy is to offer discounted access to venues for low-income visitors. That's how a grand national ambition becomes a tangible, real-world action that affects real people.
You know, there's a quote from their own reporting that just nails it. Sustainability is not an add-on, but a core dimension of competitive advantage and long-term value creation. They're not just tacking on an ESG policy to look good, they're weaving it into the very fabric of their business strategy, because they believe it's what will make them successful in the long run.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for the bigger picture? Well, Qiddiya's strategy is being looked at as a potential blueprint, a model that has some really valuable lessons for other massive developments that are happening all over the world. So if you were going to steal from their playbook, what are the key lessons? First, tie your project strategy directly to bigger national frameworks. Second, build that reporting integrity right from day one. Third, make social access and workforce equity a real priority. And finally, focus on stuff you can actually measure and verify, not just vague aspirations.
And that really brings us to our final thought. When you integrate a huge national vision with a measurable ESG strategy, a strategy focused on the environment, on inclusion, and on good governance, is this it? Is this the new playbook for how we build the cities of the future?